Hey guys, welcome to another video. I did upload my labor and delivery vlog video. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, you guys. It's a really good vlog and it's super emotional. I cry every time I watch it. I did want to upload my labor and delivery story and kind of like do a sit down video and kind of go over like what happened, give you guys details because I did not mention a lot in the vlog video and a lot did happen to me. So I definitely wanted to do a sit down video. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your post notifications. That way you get notified every time I upload. She's actually here with me in her bassinet. So yeah, I wanted to get a video up while she's sleeping and while I have time. I did get ready today. I haven't actually gotten ready in a while. In a few days, I haven't had any energy and honestly any time. New mom duties, you know. So let's get started. Obviously, if you guys watch the labor and delivery vlog, you guys know that I started labor Thursday night, which was the 16th of September. Weeks before, I want to say starting like week 36, I actually already started to get a lot more of the Braxton Hicks contractions. I was getting those early. Leading up to the 16th, I actually did show a lot of symptoms that like labor was near. I actually had a scare where I actually did start having like more discharge, you know, a little bit of blood in the discharge. So I knew, I was like, okay, labor's near. I was having the Braxton Hicks contractions. I was having like a ton of back pain, a lot of pressure in the front. And I just knew and felt that labor was near. And honestly, mentally, I was so ready, you guys, to have her. And I did have her at 39 weeks. So I was just so ready mentally. Bear with me, you guys. I'm not the greatest at like storytelling, but okay, so leading up to Thursday the 16th, that evening, which was probably around like 5 or 6, I started having contractions. And every time I had contractions, I would write it down on my notes. I would like write the time down. I did download this app that would like keep the timing for the contractions, but in the moment when the contractions would come, I wouldn't even think of getting on the app. I would just be like in pain, so I would quickly just jot down the time. I couldn't really focus on like anything else, you know, like going on the app and doing all that, but yeah, so I started to write down the time on my notes. And I remember my mom telling me always, like, as soon as you start getting contractions and feeling, you know, pain close in time, you need to start writing it down, you know, because when you go to like the doctor, they're going to ask you how close are your contractions. And me, I'm not very good at explaining things and breaking it down. So I, you know, would write it down. And Thursday night, you know, they were starting out like probably 10 minutes apart, 12 minutes apart. Like it would be different each time. It wouldn't be like consistent, but I kind of felt like, okay, labor is for sure near. Like I just felt that it was coming, and it was, you know. So yeah, I was just keeping time, and I swear you guys, the whole entire night, Thursday night, I did not sleep. I probably slept like 40 minutes. As soon as I started feeling pain, I was just up on my feet. I was walking in our apartment, like pacing back and forth. I was just trying to, you know, walk. And I remember everyone telling me, my mom telling me, the doctor, you know, once you start having contractions, you know, walking helps, taking a warm shower helps, you know, just they were telling me stuff that would help. So in my head, I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk this baby out. Like I'm gonna just be on my feet and we're gonna get her out. So I was like on a mission. I was determined. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna walk. This is it, you know, she could be coming soon, so why don't I just help the process? So yeah, Thursday night, I just walked. Jose would be up with me too. He would be like sleeping and then wake up and he would be like, hey, are you okay? And he would just see me walk in the apartment. I had literally looked like a crazy person. It actually did help the pain. I noticed that when I would sit down, the pain would slow down and kind of stop, you know, and the contractions would spread apart. But as soon as I was like up walking, I was moving around, you know, the pain would be more consistent. So I noticed, I was like, okay, that helps, you know. So I was just like, at this point, you guys, I felt crazy because like the whole night, like I said, I was up. I felt like a zombie. Like I got no sleep. I was in so much pain, honestly. The baby's right here. Let me check on her, you guys. Okay, she's good. But yeah, starting out, you know, it was really painful, and it did feel like kind of like, You know, at first it did feel like, you know, some intense cramps, but it definitely got intense. For me personally, I know everyone is different, you know, we all have different like pain levels, but for me, it definitely, at first, it was bearable, you know, I was like, okay, like, I'm getting through this, I'm gonna walk through this, like, you know, I was breathing through everything, you know, trying to breathe through everything, but, you know, it would get more intense at times. But yeah, so all of Thursday night I was just walking, and we already had our hospital bag packed. You guys know I uploaded our video, and we definitely had like our bags packed and we were like prepared. But as the night like went on and it lasted till the morning, I was like packing my toothbrush, I was packing little like toiletry stuff, you know, stuff that I had forgotten yet to pack. I started packing little stuff because I was like, okay, if this is gonna happen, I gotta be prepared. I was getting like, I was getting clothes ready to get dressed, you know. In my head, I was like, okay, Friday morning, if this continues, I'm definitely thinking of going to the hospital, because at that point, when it reached Friday morning, the contractions were like 6 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart, they were closer. So the walking I did all night, I think like progressed my labor and was like helping me. So yeah, I was getting stuff ready. I told Jose, he was up with me like most of the night, and I would tell him, I was like, no, fall asleep, because he felt bad sleeping and I felt bad because I wanted him to get rest, because I told him, I was like, no, if we go to the hospital, you're gonna need rest, like you're gonna need to sleep now and then, you know, be up with me later, you know, in the labor part. So yeah, he was trying to get as much sleep as he could, but he was just up with me, you know, while I was walking and stuff. And then Friday morning came, probably around like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., I started messaging my mom and my siblings. I didn't want to message anyone until I knew like it was serious, till I knew, I was like, okay, this is the labor. And I had planned for my mom and Jose to be in the room with me. And a few weeks ago, before this, like at my last doctor's appointment, at my last OB routine appointment, they told me that I can have 2 people in the room, you know, so I planned for my mom and Jose to be there. So yeah, it was around like 4 a.m. Friday morning, 5 a.m. and I messaged my mom and I was like, hey, I was like, I don't want to scare you guys, but I think that this is happening. I think that I'm in labor. I've been taking, you know, the time the whole night. I haven't slept. I've been walking, and, you know, she was trying to calm me down, you know, get all the facts and details. And she was like, okay, yeah, like, you know, this could be it. So they were getting prepared to come Friday, you know, to be with me here, and, you know, just in case I do go into labor. So yeah, Friday morning came. It was like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and I decided to go to the hospital. I told Jose, like, no, like, this pain is intense. Like, it was getting more intense at that point, and I was still walking, you guys. I didn't even eat. I was, like, too paranoid and too scared to eat. I was like, no, if I go into labor, I feel like I'm gonna throw up or get sick. I don't want to eat. I was just too focused on the pain. I was too focused on walking and, like, getting everything ready. So, yeah, I decided to go to the hospital. And this is where it gets crazy. This is where the story starts to get intense. So we went to the hospital, and it was probably like 8 a.m. at that point. My mom even met up with us at the hospital. So it was me, Jose, and my mom, and we had our bags. We had everything ready, the car seat in the car, expecting for them to keep me, because at that point my contractions were close. They were like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes apart. You know, they were close, so I feel like I felt like they were gonna keep me. So yeah, I got ready. I took a shower that morning, I think, or that a couple hours before we left. We got ready, I packed everything, and then we went to the hospital. And then, you guys, when we get there, they let me know that I can only have 1 person in the room. I was so sad. I wanted to cry, honestly, because already mentally I was like, okay, I'm gonna have my mom, I'm gonna have Jose, and nope, they told me I can only have 1 person, you know. So I had Jose in the room, and then my mom had to leave. I was so sad, but my mom was just like, you're gonna do good, like, good luck, you know, I love you, sending me all the love and like support. COVID sucks, you guys. In my area here in Sonoma County, I can only have 1 person. Hopefully it changes soon, because it really sucked. So we got to the hospital. I checked in, and they checked me. I'm trying to think. The first time we went to the hospital, I believe they told me I was only 1.5 centimeter dilated. So definitely I was in labor, but it was just the beginning. So they didn't keep us. We ended up going home that same day on Friday, and they kind of just gave me like some more info and tips on what would help. So that was really disappointing because my contractions were close. I just was not dilating. That's what they had let me know. But they let me know, like I said, stuff that would help. So we came home. We ended up getting food on the way home. Where we live at our apartment complex, where they have stairs. So I was taking the stairs up and down. I was continuing to walk. I even took a warm shower. You know, I was definitely doing stuff at that point to progress my labor because I was getting contractions, but like I said, I wasn't dilating. So that was like the disappointing part. I think they let me know, you know, because it's my first baby. Sometimes for people, it's hard to dilate and it takes longer. I guess it takes longer to get from like 1 to 5 centimeters. Later that day, Friday, the contractions just still continued, you guys. I was just trying to like bear through it. I was trying to be a tough one. I was just trying to breathe through it, and they let me know at the doctor's too when I got there that I was doing really good with the breathing. So I felt like I got that down. I was just trying to just breathe through each contraction, and I feel like that did help. Breathing actually does help, and I didn't think that it would. At first I was like, oh my gosh, like no, breathing does not help. Like just stop telling me to breathe. It felt like everyone was just like breathe through it, and then it actually did help. On Friday, later that day, we actually did go back to the hospital for a second time because I was telling Jose, I was like, no, like I can't handle this. Like I need to go back. And at that point too, I wanted to know if I had progressed. I wanted to know if I did dilate more, and I did. So we did go back to the hospital, and then they let me know that I did dilate more. I was at 3.5 centimeters, and at that point the pain was intense, you guys. At 3.5 centimeters, I was like, holy crap, like this is intense. And it was intense for me enough to go back to the hospital. I was like, no, like I need to see how far along I am, you know, dilated. I know I'm more, I knew for a fact I was more than 1 centimeter because it got intense. And if I can explain like the contractions to you guys, my aunt actually did explain it to me this way of her like pain, and I'm gonna explain it to you guys this way because I feel like it was a really good explanation. And honestly, it just feels like a wave of pain. Like it just feels like a wave when it comes through your body. Like for me, my contractions were really in my front area. It kind of stayed in my lower abdominal area. So that's where my pain was. It wasn't like really in my back, or sometimes it would move from like the front to my back. But it just feels like a wave of pain, and you just gotta like ride it out. You just gotta like breathe through it. It was 3.5 centimeters. You know, I did progress. I was dilating, and at that point, you guys, I was running on 40 minutes of sleep. I had no sleep in like over 24 hours at this point. It was Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. I had no sleep. I was honestly at that point feeling exhausted. Since Thursday evening, I was bearing through all this pain. It felt so intense at 3.5 centimeters. I just want to emphasize on that. I was getting exhausted, and that's why I went back, and they were telling me, they were like, no, we can't keep you. And I don't know why they didn't want to keep me. I was almost 4 centimeters, and I was so crushed when they told me that basically I had to go home. But before all that, let me actually backtrack. I was in so much pain at that point, and I had no sleep, that they had offered me morphine. And they had offered me morphine because, like I said, I looked so exhausted. I was a zombie. I got no sleep. I hadn't eaten, and the pain was just like taking over me. And they were like, okay, we can give you some morphine. You can sleep here through the night, and see if with the morphine you dilate more and you progress. So I did take the morphine because that would help with the pain a little bit. And the morphine, you guys, it was crazy. It's crazy because I would think that at this point they would keep me and maybe offer me the epidural since I'm almost at 4 centimeters. But instead they offered me morphine, and they let me know that sometimes when people get morphine, some people do wake up from sleep, you know, 6 hours later, and they're dilated to like 9, or they're not dilated. Like it kind of slows down the labor. So I took the chance and I was like, no, like I will take some. I need something to help this pain because, you know, there's just no way I can get sleep. I'm just gonna be up for a whole nother day. So they gave me morphine. I've never had anything like this in my life. I've never had any surgery, any serious hospitalization stuff to where they're gonna give me, you know, this type of medicine. So this was my first time ever in my life getting something like this. It was a huge needle, you guys, and they gave it to me in my hip. It was actually on my left hip, and it was one of the most painful things I've felt in my whole life. I think it was more painful because I was getting contractions, but it was just so painful. I felt the medicine go through me, and I spit, sorry. I felt when the medicine went through me, like in my hip, I felt it, and it burned for me. It was so painful. I was like, I wasn't screaming, but I was crying through it. Jose was here on my right side holding my hand, and I was just squeezing it. I was crying. I was like, oh my gosh. I just remember these moments, and it's so crazy. It hurts so bad, but it did kick in right away. I want to say like in 15 minutes. They let me know that it would make me drowsy and that would help me sleep. That in the next 6 hours I can sleep and see how I wake up if I'm more dilated. That definitely helped with the pain. It definitely right away, like I said, in 15 minutes made me sleepy. I remember just laying on the bed, like just totally like not even knowing what was going on. I was just getting sleepy. I ended up passing out. Friday night leading up to Saturday morning, we were, you know, there. I was with the morphine, and then I woke up. It was like 5 or 6 a.m. And then they had let me know that all through the night, they were like keeping track of my contractions. They had put the monitors on my belly where like they were keeping track of me and the baby's heart rate. And they were keeping track of my contractions. And both times that I had went back to the hospital, they were doing that. So yeah, when they had given me, so right now that they had given me the morphine, they were keeping track of my contractions, and they let me know that they had slowed down. So basically the morphine had slowed down my contractions, kind of slowed down, you know, I guess the labor, but when I had woken up, they let me know that. But they didn't check my dilation. So they didn't check if I had dilated more, which in the moment, I feel like I was just tired. I was just like, so much was going on. I was overwhelmed that I didn't think in the morning, like, oh, they need to check me. They need to check how dilated I am. So in the morning, they just had let me know. The nurse was like, hey, like, we are going to send you home. You're 3.5 centimeters, but your contractions have completely slowed down. So yeah, they sent me home. And I again was so disappointed. I was so sad because in the morning, I was still getting contractions, but they were like at that point 10 minutes apart or even like 15 minutes apart. It was just completely slowed down. We came home, again, did everything the same. I was taking the stairs at our apartment complex. I was walking. I just wasn't giving up. I was like, I'm in labor. I'm gonna help progress this. Like, I'm not giving up. And I couldn't sit down, you guys. At this point, I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait it out as much as I can. I just was on a mission. I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait it out all day. I lasted, you know, with my contractions. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get through this. The next time I go back to the hospital, I wanna be more dilated and I don't wanna be sent home again, because at that point I was already sent home twice. I don't know why they didn't keep me at the 3.5 point. A lot of people, like when I got home and after, like my family, they were telling me, they were like, why didn't they keep you? Like, that's so weird. In the hospital when we were there, I don't think that they were that busy. I didn't realize the surroundings around me, but I don't think they were that busy. I just don't know why they didn't want to keep me. Like I said, we came home. I was still in pain. I was still running on a few hours of sleep. I did get a few hours in that night that we stayed when I got the morphine, but all day Saturday, I was trying to get food in me. I was trying to get my energy back and just bear through the contractions. And then they ended up getting more intense, and they got so intense, you guys. I was just like, at that point, I was here at home, kind of like yelling, kind of like just being loud. I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay, like this is so bad. But I was taking it. I was like, no, the next time I go to the hospital, I have to be more than like 5 centimeters dilated. I was like, I'm gonna not go back, and I don't want them to send me home. Saturday night, like around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the nighttime, I ended up going back to the hospital a third time. And this third time, I was like, holy crap, like I've been in labor since Thursday evening and I don't know how I was doing it. I was pushing through it. Saturday evening, we went back to the hospital, and you guys, this was just a total turn of events because when we got to the hospital, at this point, I could barely walk. I could barely breathe through my contractions. I couldn't talk at this point. I was just like, I was fed up. I was fed up. I was just like, they better keep me. I was telling Jose, like, gosh, they better keep me. Like, I don't want to be sent home. I can't do this. Like, I was just telling myself, like, I can't take this pain at home. Like, they have to keep me. So we got to the hospital. They did everything they had did before. They took my weight. They took my temperature. They had put the monitor on my belly to keep track of mine and baby's heart rates. They took track of my contractions. And yes, you guys, contractions at this point were like 2 minutes, 3 minutes apart. They were way close. So it was just so intense. And they checked my dilation, you guys. They checked how dilated I was. And you guys, I was at 9 centimeters dilated. I mean, you guys, when they checked me, I didn't put this in the vlog, but when they checked me, the nurse literally ran out the room. She was like, holy crap, like you're 9. I think she was in shock. And I was in shock when she was like checking me. She was like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're 9. I was like, I said this out loud. I was like, wait, what? I almost, in that moment, I almost didn't want to be 9 centimeters. I was just so scared of what was to come. I knew like what was coming. I was like, oh my gosh, no, like, no. I literally was saying that. And yeah, the nurse ran out the room. Jose was in shock too. Like when we both heard that I was 9 centimeters, I literally showed up at 9 centimeters. I almost had the baby at home in my apartment. I almost had the baby here. I couldn't believe it. We were just both in shock. We were contacting our family. Like Jose was telling my mom. I was telling my mom and siblings, like, you guys, I'm about to have this baby. And in the moment, I was kind of panicking. But again, I was just trying to breathe through it. And I couldn't believe that I had like taken the pain at that point. You know, I was 9 centimeters. I was like, holy crap. Like at this point, I felt my whole labor and I was debating. I was like, should I get the epidural? Can I even get the epidural? Because I didn't know if I could at 9 centimeters. I was just so scared of what was to come. I was so scared to push a baby out because honestly, you know, who isn't? Basically, the nurse ran out the room and then 4 nurses came back in the room. They like rushed in, the doctor rushed in. They were like, okay, like, are you ready? This is it. We're keeping you. They started putting an IV in me. And then this is when it got intense as well. The nurse couldn't get the IV in me. They tried it. They poked me like a bunch of different times, probably like 5 different times. They couldn't find my IV on both arms. They had to bring in an IV finder. 3 different nurses tried. They had to COVID test me. I was basically getting it from all ends. And then the nurse asked me, she was like, do you want to get an epidural? And I was like, holy crap, I can still get it. So I was like, yes, I'll get it. And honestly, you guys, this is the crazy part because I was debating. I was like, should I get it? Should I not? And I did end up getting it just because I was so scared. I was just like, can I do this? Like, can I push a baby out? And I did get it. That was another experience. Like I'm telling you guys, I was getting it from all ends at the same time. I was having these contractions at 9 centimeters. I was getting my IV put in, being poked different times. I was getting a COVID test, you know, all these things at once. And I was just so exhausted, you guys. The epidural, I will say, it is a huge needle, and they, you know, put it in your bag if you don't know. But for me, it was really painful. I was trying not to, but I did end up moving a little bit. And it was just so painful, you guys. I felt the medicine, just like the morphine. I felt it go in me, and it was just really painful. I remember I felt my left leg die out first. I was like, yep, this is completely numb. I can't move it. And I felt the medicine just go through my leg, which was crazy. My right leg did end up getting numb, but it actually didn't get as numb as my left leg. I think because I did move a little bit, and I did end up moving, I think because, like I said, I was just getting all this stuff in me. I was getting the COVID test, my IV, I was having the contractions, and then the needle in my back. I couldn't take it, and my water hadn't broken. So I think at that point, that was the only thing keeping the baby in, my water, because it hadn't broken. Oh my gosh, you guys, as I'm talking about this, I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm just going back through all the memories and emotions. I'm over here like panicking. I'm over here like heavy breathing, like trying to like breathe as if I'm like in labor again. I'm just like remembering everything. But the pushing part and the labor part didn't come long after. Probably like in 30 minutes, you know, I was starting to push. Let me backtrack a little bit because a couple stuff did happen. And they actually let me know that my blood pressure was dropping. Oh my gosh, you guys, so many things happened to me. Poor me was going through it. I was definitely going through it. I'm like looking back now, I'm like, wow, like Nina, I gotta give myself credit because I couldn't believe that I just went through that whole thing, like through 9 centimeters, just, I don't know. Okay, but yeah, so back to the story. My blood pressure was dropping and they couldn't get it back up. They didn't know why. The nurse ended up seeing that my epidural level, because the epidural, they gave it to you on different levels, like depending on your height. So depending on my height, I'm exactly 5 feet, and the epidural level that they had me on was at an 8. And I don't know like all the levels. The nurse was just telling me that I was on an 8, and she was like, you're supposed to be on a 6 for your height. And I was like, holy crap, like really? They had me on an 8. So my left leg was so numb that even like some of my back, my belly was numb. And she was like, no, like you have to be on a 6. We're gonna turn it down because your blood pressure is dropping and we can't get it back up. So I feel like at that point, even though I was on the epidural, I feel like I was just giving out, like my body was giving out. I was just so exhausted, you guys, since Thursday evening, can you imagine? And at this point, it was going into Sunday morning. It was Saturday night, probably like at midnight. And it was just intense. Like my body was giving out, I think. So they did turn down my epidural to a 6, and at that point it started to wear off. I was feeling some contractions. I started feeling pressure, and the pressure, a lot of people talk about it. They're like, yeah, you're gonna feel pressure, you're gonna know when to push. And it's true, like you just feel your belly. You kind of just feel like weight down there, like, okay, yeah, like this baby's coming. So I started to feel the pain again. The epidural was wearing off. I only had like my left leg numb a little bit, but I started to feel the contractions, and I told the nurse, I was like, okay, I think I need a push. I kind of feel it, you know. I don't know how to explain it, but you just feel it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think I need a push. So they started preparing everything because my legs were a little numb still. They had to put this thing like on the bed where I can put my legs up. Jose was holding my right leg, but they put this thing to help, and they gave me like a little towel that I can hold on to help me push, because at that point I was so exhausted I couldn't push. I was trying and I was like, no, like I can't do it. I didn't have energy, and I didn't have it in me, I think, because of how exhausted I was. So Jose helped me with my right leg, and they were helping me. The nurse was actually helping me with my left leg a little bit. But yeah, I started to push. I didn't push for long, you guys. I pushed under an hour. I did not tear. I didn't rip down there, which is amazing. Thank you so much. I didn't tear. The nurses were telling me, like, you're doing so good, Nina. Like, for a first-time mom. And they were telling me before, like, during the practice pushes, they were like, okay, most first moms, this takes a while, you know, so just take it slow, you know. They were just relaxed, like, okay, take it slow, this is gonna take some time. And then when I started pushing, I think I was pushing, they told me I was pushing really good, to where they were like, okay, like, holy crap, wait, the baby's coming out. Like, I'm telling you guys, it was under an hour. And as I was pushing, you know, like I said, I started to feel everything. I was feeling the contractions. So honestly, I felt everything. And at that point, I was like, I shouldn't even have gotten the epidural. You know, I felt everything. I felt the whole labor. I was scared, and that's why I had gotten it, you know. But then after looking back at it, I was like, wow, like I handled it. I pushed through it, and I probably could have did it without the epidural. but that's okay. Like everything, you know, happened the way it was supposed to. So yeah, push the baby. She was born at 1:54 a.m. the 19th of September. Our little Elise Amarie Esparza was born. That's her name, you guys. I know I posted it on like my social media, but I did want to just put it on my channel. She was born 6 pounds 2 ounces, you guys. My little angel was so tiny. As soon as I seen her, it was love at first sight. I was really overwhelmed. If you guys seen in my YouTube video, my delivery vlog, I was so overwhelmed. In the moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like I really just pushed out a baby. I was just trying to take it all in. I was crying. I was just trying to breathe because I was so exhausted. And I just looked down at my baby and she was just so beautiful. I was just like, oh my gosh, like how have I been without you before? Just thinking about it, it gets me emotional. Me and Jose, throughout this whole thing, Jose was just really supportive, right by my side, like holding my leg, holding my hand, like helping me through the pushes. And we were just both so in love with our little Elise. She was just so perfect. So that was everything. That was really like a crazy intense labor. I will say overall though, it was really good. It was really good, and afterwards I just felt relieved. I was like, wow, like I really just did this. It was just a like whirlwind of emotions. It's exactly what people say, like it's a you guys hear? She's in her bassinet right now. She's awake. She's just hearing her mama talk. I did just want to end it off here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this story and you guys have followed along because, like I said, I'm not the greatest at explaining stuff, but I did kind of just want to give details. See you in my next video. Thank you for watching.